The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.
The Penn State sexual abuse pedophilia scandal continues to unravel, Lewis, and I couldn't think of any sicker irony than the fact that accused coach Jerry Sandusky wrote an autobiography titled Touched, the Jerry Sandusky story, which was published in 2001. It's a sick irony, is it not? Because I feel like in retrospect, there were so many signs that should have struck people as absolutely bizarre about this guy. Not to mention the fact that it appears 15 adults at Penn State knew about the child sexual assaults and rapes and did absolutely nothing about it. And it really does seem to me like there were just so many signs. I guess the guy's apartment window looks out at a playground, which, you know, in and of itself is not really anything. His book is called Touched, which who knows if that was his idea or someone else's, but it is one sick irony. The guy was, this is a kind of a weird thing, actually, and I don't even really know how to broach this because, to me, like I'm not that. What am I trying to say? I like children, but I don't find myself someone who's like into kids in the sense that, like, you know, I have a sister who's 7 and, I like her. I hang around with her and whatever, but I'm not one of these people that like has this desire to constantly be around children. And obviously most of the people who do have that desire, it's for good reasons. It's not for bad reasons. But there's sometimes when I just hear about a guy who has this charity aimed at helping children and he... I don't know even where I'm going with this, but sometimes I find it weird when people are so fixated on children. Like, for example, Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson just loved children. He said children are everything to him. If there were no more children in the world, it's over for him. And he wants children in his bed, and he wants to give them milk and cookies. And
yeah, but I think he kind of had an excuse. He didn't have a childhood.
Well,
you know?
Sure. He said he was Peter Pan. He didn't have a childhood, so he
and
loves
it's
children.
true. He didn't. He didn't have a childhood.
Fine, but what I'm saying is there's just... Is it always normal? Is it always benign when adults just really want to be around children? Obviously not always. There has to be some barometer to figure out, is this guy really into helping kids, or is his fixation on being around children a little bit much?
Well, I don't think it's ever something that you even think about when someone, I mean, if you had just met the guy and he was talking to you, Sandusky, and he says, oh, you know, I love children, I love being around children, it wouldn't be anything, it wouldn't pop
raise a
into
red
your
flag.
head. You know, it wouldn't pop into your head that, oh, maybe this guy's a pedophile.
Well, you know what?
You just never assume that about someone.
I know. I assume it about a lot of people, to be honest.
Well, I mean, unless it's someone in the Catholic priesthood, then yes, but...
Well, that's the comparison I want. It's interesting you bring up the Catholic Church, actually, because there was this... The question has come up of if so many adults knew about this, why wasn't more said? Why didn't we know about this sooner? Why didn't Joe Paterno, but so many other people as well? I mean, 12 adult men in positions of power, including Joe Paterno, but also, you know, Tim Curley and Graham Spanier and Jim Calhoun, Ronald Petrosky. So many people clearly knew about what was going on. And I feel like what's going on here is very similar. There's this kind of jock fraternity mentality at Penn State among the football program and athletic programs is not that different from the Catholic Church cover-up mentality in many ways.
Right, because you're protecting your image.
You're protecting your image, and you don't want to be associated. You don't want the story to break because you don't want to be associated with it. You don't want to be the person responsible for bringing it down when everybody else was okay covering it up, right? That's a common Catholic Church theme. There's a lot of similarities here, and both are completely despicable, and everybody should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Joe Paterno, we're hearing a lot that he's not going to be criminally liable in any way. You know, I don't have any particular interest in an 80-something-year-old football coach, well-known college football coach, above and beyond anybody else. But what I do have an interest in is him not avoiding prosecution simply because of who he is.
Right.
Everybody needs to be prosecuted fully. We're hearing he didn't commit crimes at the same time.
Right.
He's retained
Exactly.
a very high-profile criminal defense attorney, not a public relations type person to address image, but an actual criminal defense person, Yanaton.
Yeah, you say he didn't commit a crime. What this story brings up is that the law needs to be changed in Pennsylvania.
That's exactly right. So a number of elected officials have now said that the law needs to be changed because in Pennsylvania, if you're not in a certain position of power, and it's defined very specifically in Pennsylvania, you're not criminally liable if you don't come forward about child sexual abuse. So that absolutely needs to be changed, Louis, because Joe Paterno should be liable for what he did. Mm-hmm. And those kids who were pouting and flipping cars over like immature children because they want Joe Paterno to keep coaching. Oh, give me a break. Expel every one of them, Louis.
Don't even get me started on those idiots.